What's up, Alien fans? It is April 26th. That means it's 426, LV 426. It's Alien Day. I am Anchor Pete, and I'm here with my wife, Sherry T. And as part of the Alien Day celebration, Sherry and I are reviewing the movie Alien from 1979. Look, I have physical media of it. When you guys watch, because we have other videos too on my other channels, like Danny and Brian and I ranked all the Alien films on the Lasercast. We ranked every film in the franchise. Danny makes this really great point about how for the Alien movies, it's the characters that are the main draw for him, not the sci-fi, not the horror. And I think that this movie and Aliens, there's like a toss-up between which one has the most standout, likable characters. Would you say that? Which one would you rank higher?
As far as the characters and the likable characters?
You think Aliens?
Aliens, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because you've got Bill Paxton and Vasquez, I forget that actress's name.
Right.
You know, it's such a great crew.
And Hicks.
And the android in Aliens is awesome.
Oh, Lance Henriksen as Bishop?
Yes, Bishop's awesome. Yeah. And then in this movie we get Ash, which, by the way...
Ash is great, though. Okay, I'm sorry.
Not likable.
No, he's totally despicable. And creepy as hell.
Right. Like, this is another interesting thing about this movie. We have two villains in this movie. You know, there's obviously the alien of the title, and then there's Ash. And his scene where he freaks out is just as scary as anything, in my opinion. Like, I'm afraid of him with the milky stuff squirting from him, and it's all over his face. And the things he says, you know, the chilling line he has, which is, you know, I wish you the best of luck, I think. Or you have my sympathies, is what he says. You have my sympathies. And it's just such an awful, shitty thing to say right before he sends them off.
Yeah.
You know, I think he's very scary.
That sequence, I always think that that's like way ahead of its time. That whole sequence.
It looks disgusting and great.
Yeah, the way that it's done, just his acting alone where he's sort of malfunctioning. But even before you get to that point where he's blocking the doorway and that little streak of white, like kind of milkish substance
his sweat.
Yeah.
It goes the normal sweat.
Yeah. I bet people are thinking, like, what the hell is going on? You know? And then there's that part where he grabs Ripley and she falls and you just see his hand holding her hair.
Oh, he pulls her. Yeah,
right.
Pull her hair out.
Don't you think it's kind of bizarre that he tries to kill her by sticking a magazine down her throat?
Yeah. It's kind of sexual.
Yeah, oh, it's absolutely sexual. Yeah. This movie is like super sexual up the wazoo, but that's because like H.R. Giger is a main influence on this movie. He's like a major component of the movie. But that, you're absolutely right. It's very phallic. I take that as like he's malfunctioning, and so, you know, he could have easily just snapped her neck or done some kind of thing like that, but he's trying to shove a magazine down her throat to kill her.
I don't know, but it made it that much more horrible.
yeah, because the noises that she's making, right?
Right, it doesn't really fit in her mouth.
Yeah, that's the thing about this movie, right? Is that we could talk about just one scene from this movie. There's so many iconic scenes. And that scene we could talk about for this whole video. With these movies, it's just so iconic. Like, there's so many iconic scenes. You know, when I see them, I'm like, oh, it's this scene now. It's this scene now. And I know every single specific scene. And we were talking about that Harry Dean Stanton death scene. The lighting is also kind of incredible. It kind of reminds me of the lighting that's in Blade Runner too. You know, obviously Ridley directed both. You know, when they go to the guy that, oh God, the creator of the Replicants, like his office, the lighting is very similar. And it also has a kind of chime sound too, like from the chains in this one. And he's looking for the cat and he's calling, and you know something bad's going to happen, right?
You know something bad's going to happen because they break, you know, some of the horror trope rules, which are, and these trope rules exist because of movies like Alien, but they send him off alone. Don't do that. And at this point, they've only seen the alien burst out of the chest, and it's a little gross thing.
Yeah.
Little baby. And so I don't think they realize how quickly it's grown, which I have some questions about that I don't know if you can answer, but I might lay them on you. But anyway.
Sure. Yeah, I want to hear
Anyway, the viewer knows something bad's going to happen, and you're not sure what. And I'm sure the first look at this creature, it's so freaky looking, you know? I mean, it's part of pop culture now, but I know the first time I saw it, like, I always look for eyes. Like, we're human. I always look for eyes. The alien doesn't seem to have really any eyes, or if he does, they're in a weird place, and I can't really see him.
Yeah.
Anyway, he's very freaky with that long, shiny black head, and of course his drooly mouth and teeth.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, that's super scary. It's super scary, and like the way he looms over him.
Yeah. Well, for me, my first encounter with the alien, it's actually from a parody. It's from Spaceballs. It's that scene when the chestburster pops out. It's John Hurt. He's in the Spaceballs,
I know,
right?
he has a cameo, but they didn't show like the alien, did they?
They do like their own little cheesy Spaceballs version of the alien. Remember, he does a little dance. And
I haven't seen Spaceballs.
Oh, all right. Well, I
actually feel sorry for you that that's your first look at Alien.
Well, yeah. Well, it's a real funny scene, and you'll see it when we watch the video with the clip, right? But
I'm not crazy about Mel Brooks, so that's why.
All right, I get some good comments with this one. But what I was gonna say was that I saw that in Spaceballs, so that already kind of desensitized me to it. But then I think I saw Aliens first, and I saw Aliens maybe when I was like 10 or 11, and it was on TV. So I saw the xenomorph in that before I saw it in this. And in Aliens, it's a total different dynamic. There's so many of them. They're just kind of attacking in swarms. In this, the alien is very slow in this one. But you barely see it, right?
That's part of, I'm guessing they maybe had a limited budget.
Mm-hmm.
And, this is what makes Jaws great, too, which everyone knows, is that they don't show the shark that much. They don't show the alien that much, and that keeps you guessing and keeps you wondering. The whole film's really dark.
Oh, yeah.
You can't see a lot of things very well in the movie, and it just lends to the atmosphere and the spookiness. And I'm sitting there looking at the screen going, what is that? I think I turned to you several times saying, what is that? What am I looking at? Because I've seen this movie twice before, but I haven't seen it in a long time, and I don't know it scene for scene like you do.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, the alien is played by one man. His name is Bolaji Badejo, and he's actually a very tall man, right? If you ever see behind-the-scenes pictures, it's like a super tall guy in this suit, right?
Mm-hmm.
And, he kind of had to walk awkwardly. He sort of had to, like, sometimes do a crab walk to get around as the alien. He's always kind of crouched up. And whenever they show it, it's always sort of springing out of something. There's only one scene where I think the alien looks kind of silly. It's that scene where it's attacking Parker and Lambert, and it kind of goes like this with its hands. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Like it looked like it was almost doing like a little Creature from the Black Lagoon dance. Yeah. But otherwise,
I thought it was like reaching out.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's probably why they were trying to be careful about not showing it too much.
Right. It's it's just done so well, and you're right. It's because you don't see it. It's like Jaws. It makes your imagination go wild, and I could only imagine what an audience in 1979 felt like seeing this. Especially with the little piston coming out of the mouth too. You're like, what the hell is that?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah, it's drooling.
Yeah, it's just so wet. Dane Cook does this kind of funny impersonation of an alien where he like pours water on his head and does the whole impersonation with a little hissing and stuff. So would you say that scene with Brett is the scariest scene in the movie, or what would you say is the scariest scene in the movie?
I do think that's the scariest scene in the movie, although what rivals it is the scene with when Tom Skerritt dies, when he's like crawling in the, by the way, another kind of sexual overtones with Tom Skerritt crawling through like these canals. What are they?
Like a ventilation shaft?
Yeah, to the ventilation shafts. Like to me, it's a little bit like birth canal-y. Anyway, you said the movie is like full of it, and it is. Yeah. So he's crawling around in there, and it's so stressful because they get those blips telling them that the alien's getting closer and closer, and they can't see it, and they don't know where it is, and he doesn't know where it is, and they're warning him. And that's very tense and stressful. And those are the first two deaths, aside from the chest burster,
right?
Were the hunted deaths, where the aliens coming after him, and they're both really good, really strong.
Yeah, the movie, like that scene, for instance, right, where he's sitting there, Tom Skerritt kind of mutters some things to himself too. I think that adds to the tension, and then you have like the dialogue of Lambert, like saying like it's there, it's coming, like get out of there.
Yeah, she's so scared for him. He's scared.
Yeah, it's just that scene, the way that it's edited in such a way where it's like he's sitting there kind of quietly and he's muttering to himself because he's like freaking out about where he is, and then Lambert starts to freak out because the alien all of a sudden appears on the like the
sonar. The way he appears out of like nowhere.
Right.
Yeah. And, you're like, oh shit, I'm like, run. Even though I know it's going to happen, I'm screaming at him.
Yeah. The music by Jerry Goldsmith, I actually prefer the sequel. I prefer the the James Horner Aliens music to this music.
Okay.
But the score is iconic too. And that particular scene, the music really kind of ramps up and builds that tension. The music, it gets really dramatic because it's like, oh my God, the captain of the ship is about to be taken out. I didn't think that people knew at that point that Ripley was going to be the main character.
Because she wasn't that important up to that point.
Right. And so that sequence, just the way it's edited, the music's ramping up, and then it cuts to just Ash's face, just kind of, you see the side profile of him. He's just kind of staring emotionless. Ripley's all freaked out too. It's just so well shot, Yes,
it's very, very stressful and scary.
Yeah, I think that had we not seen them, we've seen the movie multiple times. I think seeing the movie for the first time, I think when she's on the shuttlecraft where she's finally left the Nostromo and the alien's hand pops out like that, I think that would have really scared the shit out of me on first viewing.
Okay, but it's just a jump scare. It's not like the stress and tension that I really want in a horror movie. I thought that was minor. It was more important the fact that the creature was there at all.
Right. Right.
So it was more, for me, it was more like, what? It's on there with her little shuttle?
Yeah. I really want to give a credit to Ronald Shusett, because he is the one that came up with the idea of, well, how do you get the alien from the planet to the ship? And his idea was that the alien impregnates the person, right? And I think that when we think of Alien, that is the core of Alien that we think of. I mean, there's so much to it. The design, the directing, the creature itself, right? The acting. But the core of Alien is face hugger on your face, chest burster coming out, right? That's the scene that everybody thinks of with Alien, right? So I just want to give him credit. Yeah, it's iconic. It's like the 7 spoilers, guys. Head in the box, right? That's like the thing of 7, right?
It's so horrific and such a surprise because they're sitting around eating and enjoying themselves, and everyone's relieved that he's okay, and then he's not, and it's awful. I was gonna say, I was reading that scene has been compared to rape, like a male rape.
Yeah,
and that because this movie's full of all this kind of sexual innuendo and imagery. That is the main sexual thing. Is that and the writer O'Bannon, he said that he wanted to freak out male audience members because there's this well-known kind of Freudian male fear of penetration, and that he wanted to work on the male audience specifically for them to feel the fear of what it's like for something. That's why he had it happen to a male character, and also just to flip the genre a little bit, where it doesn't happen to a female character, which is usually what happens in horror movies. Anyway, so the impregnating him forcibly, that's kind of a rape, and then having to have the child, kind of basically giving birth. That's supposed to be there's some famous writers, I guess commentary writers, who have said this is a rape movie.
Oh yeah. The sexual overtones are so strong. It's clear. Yeah. I think that the scene of her leaving the ship after everyone has died is really iconic too. I feel like I've seen that parodied a lot. I feel like I've seen that imitated a lot, where the steam is kind of flying out and there's the alarms going off, and she has to go all the way to the hallway.
Well, they definitely do it in Aliens also.
Right. But then I've seen it in other movies too, parodied, and even on cartoons.
Whenever there's this time pressure thing, they really do a great job with the stress she's feeling.
So that just shows how incredible an actress Sigourney Weaver is, right? And this is her breakout role. This is what put her on the map, right? And so she's just up against the bulkhead like that, and it's just these tight shots of her face, and she's just showing her complete terror, right? And I think you were talking about when she's in the shuttle itself too, right?
Yeah. I just wanted to comment on her character a little bit, which is that in the beginning of the movie, or midway through the movie, when the contaminated people are coming back, she doesn't want to let them back on. And I think that's really interesting for her character. She's a really logical person. She goes by the rules. She's not very emotional. By the end of the movie, she's an emotional mess. So I kind of like to watch the progression of how she has to anyone who's a type A kind of person has to if they have to let go of that, and try to rely on emotion, which is exactly what she doesn't want to do, to see how they handle things, and she does it. You know, she handles everything beautifully, of course.
Yeah, yeah.
Under pressure, you know. She's also the only one who's really suspicious of Ash.
Yeah.
Right. She like sees him do a few little things here and there that no one pays much attention to, but she's noticed, right? And she has little confrontations with him. They don't really go anywhere because he puts her off, and but the audience is aware that she's kind of got her eye on him, right? So they've established she's intelligent. They've established that she's logical and level-headed. She's the one who finds the message that the crew is expendable, which is a stunning moment for me. Like, I know that, but like, I gasped when those words appeared because I was able to imagine like how she must feel seeing those words, how horrible she must feel, and how upset she was. And then fucking Ash is right next to her all of a sudden.
Yeah.
God, that bothered me so much. Anyway, so that was a much better scene than I ever remembered it being. Like, my emotions were really wrapped up in that. But then I got emotional when she finally makes it to the shuttle, right? And she blows up Nostromo, and she strips down, right? This is famous strip down scene.
Sure.
Again, I gasped because I found it very sexual.
Well, she's wearing like really small panties, and Sigourney Weaver is like really tall and lean, right? So I don't know. I just feel like it really.
I don't think that's what it is. I think it's how it's framed. I think it's how they filmed it. I think it kind of bothered me because she's been this type of character the whole movie. It hasn't been a sexual thing at all. And then all of a sudden, I mean, at least not with her character.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden she is that. Now, I was thinking about the logic of it. Like, she's just gone through all this hell, and they have established at the beginning that the crew sleeps in their underwear. And that makes sense for her to like want to take off her bloody, sweaty clothes, and she's going to go get in her pod and go to sleep with Jonesy. And that makes sense for her to take off her clothes. However, they frame it, I think, in a like real sexy way. It's like looking up at her, and it like accentuates her body, I think, in a way that just regular lighting wouldn't. You didn't notice that?
No, I mean, yeah. Okay, so like we have this image of Ripley, right? You were just saying that you watched some other video where they said she's the #1 final girl, and she's often like that on a list, right? Where like #1 sci-fi action hero woman or female hero.
Right. We don't think of her as this like sexual, object.
And in the franchise, that's really the only time that she is made sexual. She acts a little sexy in Alien Resurrection, and she does have sex with Charles Dance in Alien 3, but you don't really see it.
Okay, well, James Cameron specifically talked about the scene and how he found it offensive, and that when he made his movie, his Ripley was not going to be a sexual object in any way, shape, or form. And she's not, of course, in Aliens. There's none of that business.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they like had pressure, or I did read that there were supposed to be a couple of sex scenes and nudity in the movie, and they decided to get rid of it. So maybe this was their kind of like, this is what they could put in. Like, I don't know why they did that, because it didn't really go with the rest of the film or her character. It's to me kind of a weird timing, or I don't know. It didn't mesh for me. Like, it made sense for her character to strip down. It's the way they filmed it, though, I thought was definitely like peeping Tom leering.
Yeah, even when she goes into her space suit to eject the xenomorph out, she kind of goes like this to slip into the suit.
Yeah, and the camera's like looking up. It's not like looking at her face on, which would have minimized all the shadows and all the little things you could see.
Yeah.
No, I'm pretty sure it's like for sexual effect.
Yeah, that's kind of cool that you saw the details about that there's going to be sex in the movie or sex scenes, because I remember watching a YouTube video on that Alien Theory guy's channel where there was like at least casting scenes where they tried it out in casting where Ripley was kind of sexual with Dallas.
Yeah, they're supposed to have a sex scene, which would have been ridiculous.
The idea was that like in the future that sex was like real casual, and it was just like kind of a thing that they did, to like let off steam or whatever. Even though they were like working for the company and stuff, she could just do that,
Yeah, but who wants to like worry about that while an alien's chasing you around and about to kill you?
It's like that scene would have happened before the xenomorph, the chest burster.
That's not what I read.
Oh, really?
I read that they were going to do it in the middle, like to relieve tension.
Oh, okay. Well, that kind of helps sometimes, right? Yeah.
They didn't do it because it wouldn't have been that good, I don't think.
Yeah. Well, with that scene aside, right? Because if that's like I truly think that's like the one thing we could fault the movie with, maybe is that one scene. Otherwise, I can't think of a flaw in the movie. I know that like with the special effects, you know, it kind of seems a little dated with the computer itself, but otherwise, I think the movie is like almost perfect in every aspect.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that the cast itself, right? I was going back to this before where we're talking about like the cast of Aliens, the cast of this movie. This movie, the cast is fantastic too. And I was going to ask you, besides Ripley, because that's the obvious answer, right? Which crew member do you like the most?
I really like the character Parker.
Oh, by Yaphet Kotto? His
yeah,
character?
yeah.
Okay,
He provided some comic relief.
yeah.
I like how he spends the first half of the movie worrying about his pay,
Yeah.
and he's got his little crony who's Harry Dean Stanton, and
Brett.
that's what they're worried about, and it's annoying to everyone, but he's funny. He tells jokes. He makes people laugh. Actually, really like the couple of eating scenes where the crew's relaxed and hanging out with each other. There's a really good, they manage a really good vibe. It feels realistic. It feels like these people have been hanging out for 10 months on a spaceship, and like they know each other really well and are really comfortable. I think that's not an easy thing to achieve.
Yeah.
Anyway, the cast has that in those scenes, and he's a big part of that,
Yeah, you are 1,000% right. I think that him and Harry Dean Stanton truly convey that sense of that these aren't like astronauts exploring space. These are workers. They're blue collar workers, and they are concerned about their pay.
When something comes up they have to do, they don't want to do it.
Right.
Complain.
Right. He's very funny. And you were saying that the team feels like they've worked together. I noticed that with movies from the 70s in particular, and there's every so often a modern movie is like this, but there's people talking over each other.
Mm-hmm.
You don't see that in movies as much, at least from the 80s on. But in this movie, you have it a lot, where there's people talking at the same time, right?
I mean, okay.
And to me, that always makes something seem more realistic. Right? Because you're in a stressful situation. There's multiple people talking at once, right? It's not like, oh, we have to say this important dialogue.
Yeah.
And he doesn't necessarily say profound things, but he's talking at the same time as Ripley. There's one
He
part.
just seems like a fun guy to be working with, and also he's like one of the last people to die. I mean, I think I would feel safe with him if there was an alien around. He might be him and Dallas are probably the main ones you'd want to hide behind,
Yes.
if you were afraid, or to have on your side. I shouldn't say hide behind because we're talking about a movie starring Ripley.
Yeah, he he seems so self-serving in the beginning of the movie, but he's very noble at the very end. Because he runs over to Lambert to save her when she's just sort of frozen like a deer in headlights.
Who's your favorite character?
I was going to say the same.
Same thing.
Yeah. I just love Yaphet Kotto just in general, and we just lost him recently. We actually lost quite a few people from this cast in the past few years. John Hurt died a few years ago. Ian Holm, I think, just died last year. And then Yaphet Kotto just died a few months ago.
When did Harry Dean Stanton die? It's not that long ago.
Oh, Harry Dean Stanton did die. Yeah. So we only have like Tom Skerritt, Sigourney Weaver, Veronica Cartwright. That's it.
Do you remember where we've seen Veronica Cartwright before?
Yeah, The Witches of Eastwick.
Yeah, she grosses me out so much in that movie, so I just can...
Yeah, I mean, she's in a lot of things, and I think that she's actually fantastic in this. She's probably the character that gets the least amount of screen time or dialogue. Well, maybe Brett does, but she really does convey the sense of like fear and hopelessness. Like, I think she really conveys how we would all be feeling in this scenario. I mean, everyone in this movie is great. And it's such a small cast, but everyone stands out. But I love Sigourney Weaver. I've always loved Sigourney Weaver. I think that's probably from like watching Ghostbusters as a kid. And then, of course, seeing Aliens at a pretty young age. I've always loved her. I think she's beautiful. I think she's incredibly talented. She's always been like a hero to me. And I was trying to see like why do we love Ripley so much when I watched it this most recent time. And I think that the one scene that stands out to me that kind of shows me what Ellen Ripley is, or what makes Ellen Ripley so interesting. There's a scene where she's talking to Ash as Kane, that's John Hurt. He's in the infirmary. He's got the face hugger on his face, and she's talking to Ash, right? And she does this thing where she's kind of jokingly, kind of playfully talking to Ash. And she's got that voice. Sigourney Weaver's voice is very distinct too. But the way that she looks, and she's got this playful tone, but the way that she looks, she's kind of menacing. Well, I think it's just it's a good sign of her acting because she's clearly mad that they might have infected the whole crew, but she's like trying to be professional, and she's also kind of charming too. Ripley is always charming. To me, Ripley's always kind of slightly dangerous, right? It's super intelligent, like you said before, you know, and extremely passionate.
Yeah, and one of the things I like about her is her compassion, because it doesn't seem like there's really room for that in this kind of situation, but she saves the cat, you know, which is sort of silly, but she is always kind of primary, like, concerned with that cat. She makes sure she grabs the little cat case. There's no holes in the movie, like, where did the cat come from? They always show her getting the cats, you know. And when Aliens starts, the second movie, she's sleeping in her pod with Jonesy, who has not aged along with her. And in the second movie, of course, she again shows a lot of compassion by taking Newt under her wing. And I like that because this is like a small tangent here. The superheroes we have nowadays, the women just, they kick a lot of ass and they don't seem to have the compassion aspect. It bums me out because that's a big part of what women are about. Ripley has that.
Yeah, yeah. Especially in Aliens.
Yeah, well, she's like they have it here much more subtle. She does kick ass in this movie, but only because she's forced to. She's not really who she is. She's like under stress and duress, and she just does the best she can under the circumstances, which is definitely good enough since she does kill the alien. Her compassion is muted, you know, it's for this cat. It's not for actual little girl, you know, but you see the little bits of it. And Aliens, they kind of blow it up. Like, they take that compassionate side and blow it up. But now it's a little girl and she's almost like a mom to this little girl. And then the badassery she shows in Alien, they blow it up, of course, like so much in Aliens.
Yeah.
So they take those parts of her personality and really emphasize them. I don't know if that's necessarily good. I love Aliens though, so I'm not going to complain.
Yeah. Was she, you know, she's like a definitive character, especially for the genre. And you know what? In one version of the script too, they had it to where the alien is on the escape pod with her, but the alien actually kills her, and that the alien makes contact with like Earth forces or whatever, or like, you know, it's going back to Earth. And it like talks in Ripley's voice.
Ew.
So I think that's it for our discussion of the classic movie Alien. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't liked and subscribed, now's a great time. As I mentioned before, I've done 2 other videos for Alien Day. One is on my channel, Ramblings from the Rod Pod, which you can find in the description below. There's one on my horror channel, The Lassercast, where me and my friends Danny and Brian rank all the Alien movies and the Alien vs. Predator movies. This is Peter and Sherry, last surviving crew members of the Nostromo, signing out.